Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome to this meeting of the Cabinet. Welcome those in the audience and those watching at home. My name is Councillor Shantanu Rajawat, the Leader of the Council and Chair of Cabinet. I'm joined around the table this evening with Cabinet colleagues who will introduce themselves as they speak. We're also supported with officers around the table who don't take part in the decision-making, but are here to offer support and advice if required. Also delighted to welcome the Leader of the Opposition, who has a standing invite, Councillor Peter Thompson, and the Chair of Overview and Scrutiny, Councillor Sayar Raza, who also has a standing invite. Again, both Councillor Thompson and Councillor Raza don't take part in the decision-making, aren't able to vote in this meeting. Before I move on to the formal items on the agenda, I did want to address the tragic incident that happened in Heston on Sunday evening, which led to the tragic loss of life following a fire. Whilst I'm absolutely heartbroken about the tragedy and the loss of life, the police are currently investigating, and I want to pay tribute to the London Fire Brigade and the Metropolitan Police, who did a fantastic job under really difficult circumstances. And I offer my condolences to the friends and the family of the deceased at this difficult time. And my thanks actually to the community as well in the local area, who've really come together to support and to grieve. And that process of grieving will take its time. And I just wanted to be absolutely clear on behalf of the council and in fact the London Fire Brigade and the Met Police that we'll do everything we can to support those affected by this tragic incident. As a mark of respect, I will ask that we stand for a minute's silence in memory of those deceased. Thank you very much. Okay, so we'll move to the first item on the agenda, which is apologies for absence. I've got apologies from Councillor Samir Chowdhury and Councillor Salman Shaheen for lateness, and Councillor Catherine Dunn, I believe, for lateness as well. Are there any other apologies? I can't see any others around the table. No, good. Are there any declarations of interest arising from the agenda from members? No. Members, can I ask you to take note of the monitoring officer's note on interests when declaring an interest? Good. We then move on to two sets of minutes, and I'll take them in turn. First one are the minutes of the meeting held on the 17th of October, which is page 8 of the printed agenda. I'll take them page by page for accuracy and matters arising together. Starting at page 8, page 9, page 10, page 11. Can I agree those minutes? Agreed. Thank you. Moving on to the minutes of the meeting held on the 31st of October, page 12 and page 13. Can I sign those minutes as an accurate record? Agreed? Agreed. Thank you very much. So we then move on to the first substantive item. I'm sorry, Cabinet colleagues, you've got me for a couple of reports before I hand over to others. Yeah, loads, I know. So the first substantive item is agenda item 4, which is a report titled Leading Hounslow Future Organisation. This report responds to our ambitions for Hounslow. Members you'll be aware that when we formed the administration in May 2022, we laid down an ambitious set of corporate priorities, which were supplemented by a detailed delivery plan, which is a live document, and changes, and the financial strategy that supports that. This is a very good opportunity and moment in time on that journey to look at the organisation, both in terms of our ambitions for Hounslow, but also in terms of the future of public services and making sure that that is fit for purpose and responds to changing needs and changing demographics in the borough. And this report talks to that. This report talks to the way our top three tiers are organised, where the accountabilities lie, and rationalising the roles that exist within the organisation in the top three tiers so that they are responsive to our corporate plan and they are fit for the future and respond to the challenges that we will need to meet, both financially, but also in terms of society as well going forward. So it's a very comprehensive report. I didn't propose to go through it in any great detail except to say for that. So I do formally move it. Can I have someone to second the report, please? Councillor Ajmagirwal, did you want to speak or reserve your right?
I'll reserve my right. Thank you.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded. It's now open for discussion and debate. Is anybody like to speak to this report? Councillor Bruce.
Yeah, absolutely. Just to, I think, echo your words and throw some supportive statements behind what you're saying. I think it's right that organisations such as councils reflect on where they are and where they want to go. It's difficult making changes, and you know that is difficult from the top to the bottom and right across the middle. But we all need to be doing that, you know, in our own day-to-day jobs, exactly where we are and what we want to be doing. And I think organisations need to do that to reflect the current state of play. I think this sets out ambitious but not unachievable, and something that I think is going to absolutely benefit the residents of this borough. So I absolutely support this, Leader.
Thank you, Councillor Bruce. Anyone else on this report? No, can't see anyone else indicating, so I'll move to the vote on this. The recommendations are on page 14, 1.1 to 1.3. Can I see all those in favour, please? That is carried. Thank you very much, everyone. Right, my next report is the One Hounslow Financial Strategy Update. Another very important document as we go towards budget setting in February. It's absolutely important that we set out the financial context that we currently find ourselves in up till now, following the last budget setting round. This is a very comprehensive document talking around the challenges that we find ourselves in. We know, for example, that inflation remains stubbornly high, and that's impacting on our residents, but also on councils. The cost of services is also stubbornly high. And this report looks to address some of those challenges now and offer reassurance, I suppose, to Cabinet about direction of travel as we lead up to budget setting. So this sets out the situation from a baseline of, if we did nothing, what would that look like? And then the building blocks on how we can try and bridge that gap. Overall, we want to be a council that has long-term plans that benefit the residents, but also deliver efficiencies, move away from contingency management wherever possible, accepting that sometimes that's also necessary, but always a final resort. That was all I was going to say on this report, so I formally move it. Can I have a seconder, please? Councillor Bruce, do you want to speak?
No, reserve my right to speak, Leader.
Thank you. The report's been moved and seconded. It's open for debate. Anybody? Councillor Thompson.
Just a couple of quick ones. It is, as I say, it's a very, very helpful document, very detailed. A lot of it, in a sense, could have been written at any time over the last 20 years in terms of all those pressures that all local authorities are facing. But just to pick out a couple of areas where I'd be grateful for a bit more insight. So in 5.29, it talks about the obviously slower than anticipated progress in bringing forward the capital pipeline. I know that features elsewhere on the agenda as well. I'm just interested to know, I'm sure if anyone were to be reading this document, they'd also perhaps be interested to know why that is the case. And again, 5.44, where it talks about the use of reserves, always a tricky and controversial one, how much we can spend, how much we shouldn't, and so on. Again, it's a very unfair question in a sense, but how likely is it, do you think, that we're going to have to tap into those? I'm asking you to get your crystal ball out really there and have a guess. And obviously, it's a one-off thing, or ought to be. But if it's that desperate, it's nice to have it there to draw on, isn't it? Thank you.
Yeah, I'll come back to that in summing up, Councillor Thompson. Anyone else on this report? Cool. I'll sum up then. Absolutely on the capital pipeline, we're very transparent on the capital program. It's an ambitious program that needs to deliver. I think it is more difficult at the moment with costs going up and inflation being as high as it is. So we are constantly reviewing the capital program to make sure it delivers and proper program management around that. Now, sometimes that means that we can't deliver as much as we perhaps want to when we want to. But it's about phasing it properly and having that oversight over it. And as lead member, it's topic number one often in meetings around delivering on those. And officers get very frustrated with me because I'm very impatient, as I'm sure you can imagine. But I kind of take the view that these are big infrastructure projects that we need to deliver properly, as opposed to deliver for the sake of ticking a box. So that's where I'm on that. And yeah, I mean, I've always had the mantra that thank God we had reserves with some of the financial challenges that we've had to meet. We did dip into reserves last year, as you may recall, as part of the budget. You're right, at the moment, it is a little bit of a crystal ball. And I think that's where I come to the point where, whilst it's great to have, we appreciate that they are one-off spends. So I'm not dependent on them, and we need to always be mindful that we're moving away from use of reserves. They're there for a rainy day when it is difficult, as opposed to the go-to. So what you'll find is the delivery program and the corporate plan and the transformation program is the primary driver for savings, and that needs to deliver before I'll even consider dipping into reserves. There was no one else on this report, so I'll move straight to the recommendations. So the recommendations are on page 25, A to F. Can I see all those in favour? That is carried. I'm sorry, Councillor Sheen, you won't be able to vote because you weren't here for the start of that, but that's carried unanimously. Thank you very much. Then move on to agenda item 6, delivery plan monitoring. So I've referenced the delivery plan several times. Absolutely really important that we are transparent on how well that is delivering for the authority. As I said just a moment ago, that is the delivery plan is primary way in which we will deliver the transformation for long-term efficiencies, but also better services for our residents. So this is a Q2 update for members, and I'll formally move it. Can I have a seconder? Councillor Bath, would you like to speak, or is over your right?
I'll second that, and I'll reserve my right to speak.
Yours,
Thank
all right.
you.
Perfect. Thank you, Councillor Bath. It's now open for discussion, debate. Anything from members on the delivery plan? Councillor Bruce.
Yes, thank you, Leader. I just wanted to touch on the appendix 2, which is the place delivery plan. And that there are 3 items that are red which fall under my portfolio: Hamworth Park House, Convent Way, and Waterman's and Police Station site. Just wanted to talk briefly about the situation with all 3 and why they're red. Red always makes people very concerned, I'm sure, and worried that, well, what's happening and it's not going to come forward at all. And I just want to assure people that that's not the case. It's not that they're red because nothing is happening or they're not going to happen, but it is important, as I think as you said on the last item, that we are transparent and that we are clear about concerns that we might have about their delivery on the time frame that we had them previously. All of them still are on track to happen. I think that's really important to say. There are internal conversations about how that is going to take place, and we're currently looking at the HRA business plan, and refreshed HRA business plan will come forward jointly between myself and Councillor Sampson in January or February next year. Specifically on Waterman's and the police station, again, internal discussions with the developer about how that can be perhaps reprofiled, and some non-material amendments to ensure that work can start there within the time frame necessary to ensure planning remains relevant. But I just want to reiterate on all three that we are still working very hard to deliver those the sites with the relevant developers and owners of those properties, of those places, I should say. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Bruce. That's really helpful. And I don't believe in greenwashing a report, so it's always good to have that visibility, and the explanation with it makes a lot of sense. Is there anyone else on this report? No one else? Good. Okay, so I'll move to the vote. The recommendations on this report are on page 45, 1 to 4. Can I see all those in favour? That is carried. Thank you very much. We're almost there. We're almost there for me, and then you won't hear the sound of my voice again. Agenda item 7 is the Treasury Management Strategy Mid-Year Report. Again, this is an update that comes to Cabinet. We set our Treasury Management strategy, every year. We refresh it as part of the budget papers. This is your mid-year update, and I'm pleased to report that Treasury Management activity, borrowing and investments are in line with the strategy. All our prudential indicators are in line. There has been 2 indicators which have breached the prudential indicators, but there is an explanation within the report of 4.17, and I'm content with that. So all in all, I treat this as a bit of a good news report. It is a lot of numbers, but our borrowing strategy and our investments are delivering on what we need them to do, and all of that gives us capital, I suppose, back in the system so that we can deliver on our residents' priorities. So with that, I formally move the report. Can I have a seconder? Councillor Shivraj Gorawal, do you want to reserve your right? Yeah, you're reserving your right. Thank you. It's now open for discussion and debate. Anybody on this one? No. Fairly straightforward report. So I'll go straight to the recommendations, which are on page 55, 1.1. Can I see all those in favour? That is carried. Thank you very much. And then agenda item 8 is the financial monitoring update. Again, as I discussed in the Hounslow financial strategy update, this is the regular Q2 update that Cabinet are used to seeing, and it gives you a snapshot of how we were doing in the quarter. This again expands on some of the pressures that we're seeing in the system in adult social care, children's social care, and in housing. Also talks about the variance in the capital programme, which we just discussed in a previous report. So it's a report the Cabinet should be used to seeing, and I formally move it. Can I have a seconder, please? Councillor Gorawal, do you want to reserve your right?
Yes, thank you. Reserve my right.
Perfect. Thank you very much. It's now open for discussion and debate. Anybody on this report? Councillor Thompson.
Just 5.7 refers to the leisure centres and the issues obviously with Lambton Leisure. Now I know when this was discussed in I think it was in the summer, in June, when you were putting more money into the organisation, I think I raised the same point really. It looks as if things are improving in terms of losses. I think last time I raised it, there was it was said that things were happening behind the scenes. I assume they have been. Is there a growing confidence that perhaps they will be moving out of this sort of demand and drawing away money from other areas from the council?
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Thompson. Again, I'll come back to that as part of my summing up. Councillor Lambert.
Yeah, I attend the Lambton Leisure board each quarter. there's a very positive sense in how it looks now. The number of members are going up sharply, much more than they expected, and the customer satisfaction has improved dramatically as well. I mean, it's still not where we'd like it to be, but it's an awful lot better than it was even 3 or 4 months ago. So it's a very strong, very dedicated management team, and they're determined to make this into a success, and they're getting there.
Thanks, Councillor Lambert. Anyone else on this report? Yeah, no. Okay, so just to expand a little bit on Councillor Lambert's point, he's absolutely right. Things are improving. There is absolutely a plan. Both Councillor Lambert and I hold them to account on that. I think leisure is one of those services that actually really bears out some of the pressures that are being felt in the system. So, you know, heating a pool is not cheap. Lighting a leisure centre is not cheap. So whilst numbers are going up, yeah, there will be pressures until inflation does come down, until costs do start coming down. So we are managing it as closely as we can, whilst understanding that they're operating under very difficult circumstances, and doing an incredibly good job. And it's great to see that membership is rising sharply. That will help to a certain degree, but this isn't an overnight fix. This will take some time to iron out. Is there anyone else? No, there isn't. Okay, so the recommendations on this report are on page 66, A to K. Can I see all those in favour? That is carried. Thank you very much. And you'll be pleased to know with that, I don't take a break. We now move on to agenda item 9, which is the Hounslow Company's governance report. So I'll just briefly introduce this report. So the report introduces a refresh of the governance arrangements, which brings clarity to the relationship between the council and our company, Lambton. It's aimed that brings a more easily understood set of arrangements for the council to oversee and work with the Lambton Group. Probably the most significant proposal in this report is to establish a shareholder committee, which will be a subgroup of cabinet. And on that board will be myself as leader of the council and shareholder, Councillor Dunn as deputy leader, and Councillor Lambert as cabinet member and deputy shareholder interest. And those will be the members initially, and we hope that will provide dedicated space for considering matters related to companies and ensuring that they get the attention required for the risks involved. The report also seeks approval for the strategic intent, which is a very important document, and that sets out the purpose of the companies and establishes a clear rationale for their use and expectations of future successes, and also places the focus on local delivery of services while targeting both commercialization and growth. The strategic intent also embeds the partnership principle between Lambton and the council and outline how successes will be judged in the future. Further to this, approval is also sought for the growth framework, which is a document that explains what growth means for Lambton Group and provides a framework for assessing opportunities for growth to ensure that those which are progressed are aligned with the council's goals. To enable the operation of the shareholder committee and to drive achievement of the strategic intent ambitions, the report also includes an updated Articles of Association for Lambton 360 Limited and an updated shareholder agreement. These documents set out the practical arrangements for the governance processes. Just to make Cabinet aware, this report will go on to Borough Council with a covering report to get approval for the changes to the Constitution required to enable the shareholder committee. And the report includes a section which begins to clarify the different roles and relationships that are required to ensure Hounslow's companies are given best possible chance of success. And that broadly, the council is the owner of the companies, so the shareholder. The council is the customer of the company, the companies, sorry, so the commissioner, the companies as a supplier to the council, so the service provider. And we hope that this clarity will provide a strong platform to build on successes of the past and also realise the ambitions of the strategic intent. So with that, I formally move the report. Councillor Lambert, would you like to second it?
Just to say that having lived with Lambton for 3 or 4 years, when it started out as a rather random set of companies that ran in slightly different ways, they weren't all part of the same group. They are now. They have a clear vision of where they're trying to go. It matches what the council want to do with them. And it's a lot more professional than it was even a year ago. And I think it's time that we got into that kind of a state with them, and we're doing it.
Thank you, Councillor Lambert. It's been moved and seconded. It's now open for debate. Anybody else on this report? Oh, Councillor Thompson.
I promise this is my last one. Just it's, again, it's a very honest report, and you mentioned a few times tonight about being transparent and open and not hiding anything away. Obviously, as Councillor Lambert said, they've got a series of organisations here that formed from 2012, 2016, 2018. I'm guessing, therefore, my question really is, it says in the report 3.7 that at present we have that lack of clarity, that lack of understanding about oversight, governance, performance, operation. And I suppose, in a sense, I'm reading between the lines. You may well have answered this question, really, but how did we end up in this situation? You know, it's been going for a while, and we've seemed to suddenly realise that things weren't quite in place as they should have been. So was that just because it happened organically over time, and they were just, as you said, quite separate organisations that didn't have much in common, or was there just a lack of, a lack of thought about the way this organisation would move forward?
Thanks, Councillor Thompson. Anyone else before I address that point? No. So I think the world has changed quite considerably since the companies were first set up. And I think the comment in the report isn't to say that Lambton haven't been delivering what we've asked them to deliver. I think circumstances have changed, and it's right from time to time to review that. So I don't think it's the case that they've not been delivering for us. I think Lambton does deliver great services for our residents. But I think this is a perfect moment as we're looking at the corporate plan and changing public services, as we've referenced in earlier reports, that the companies aren't immune from that. And so, as people have come and gone in the organizations, things do change. And it's not that there's a negligence there. I think it's just a perfect opportunity to reset that, understand it, and put a set of articles that actually says, even if person X isn't with the organization anymore, there is an overarching set of principles that sit within the companies and the relationship between the council and the companies that you can always fall back on. But I think that's the clarity that I'm trying to refer to in this report, as opposed to we've let things slip. That's not the case, because actually Lambton have always delivered very well on everything that we've asked them to deliver. Did you want to come back? I wouldn't normally allow it, but go on.
Just to say, I wasn't trying to, if I implied, I apologise. I wasn't trying to imply there's anything wrong with the setup. I just wanted to know why we now needed to do it. I think you've answered that very clearly. Thank you.
Perfect. Anyone else on this report? No, I can't see anyone else indicating. So the recommendations on this report are on page 88, 1.1 to 1.10. Can I see all those in favour? That is carried. Thank you very much. Right, now, I promise you, this is my final report of the evening. And this is the report of the chair of the pension board for 22-23. So members, you'll be aware that by legislation, there was a requirement in 2015 for the introduction of a pension board that oversees the work of our pension fund panel, who are custodians of our staff, and do a great job. Our pension fund is doing very, very well, delivering great value for money and for our pensioners. This report is the report of the independent chair of that board, and I'm pleased to report that they are giving us full assurance over the work of the pension fund panel, which I'm really pleased to see. I'd like to put on record my thanks to the pension board and the chair of the pension board in particular, who I've got a very good relationship with. We talk fairly regularly in a very open and candid way, and iron out any issues that may well arise. They're normally very minor in their nature anyway. So I just want to put on record my thanks to the pension board for the work that they do on behalf of our pensioners. So I formally move the report. Could I have a seconder on this one, please? Councillor Shivraj Goyal, are you reserving your right? Yeah, you're reserving your right to speak. Perfect. This is now open for discussion and debate. No, can't see anyone indicating. So I'll move straight to the recommendations, which are on page 103, 1.1 and 1.2. Can I see all those in favour? That is carried. Thank you very much. And that is me done. Now move on to agenda item 11, Children and Young People's Plan and Engagement Plan. Councillor Bath, over to you.
Thank you, Leader. You can have a break now. Okay, so I'm presenting tonight the Children and Young People's Plan, and this is our plan, which is our ambition for children and young people in the borough. So we're referring to children from 0 to 18 years old, or 18 to 25 if you're in care. And what I'm asking the Cabinet to do tonight is to agree the new plan. And we've done things slightly different this time around. We've actually organised the plan focusing on the 6 corporate priorities of the council, which obviously makes sense. So it's around greener Hounslow, healthier Hounslow, cleaner Hounslow, thriving Hounslow, safer Hounslow, and a livable Hounslow. So I'm sure you all know that, but that's exactly how the plan is organised. And we take each one of those themes in turn, and then we consider what the outcome would look like for a young person. So in terms of the engagement that we've had with young people, we've engaged with over 2,000 children and young people who've basically fed into this plan and shaped the findings. But I'm a great believer that we need to continually be engaging with young people all the time, because they sometimes are often the young people that don't feed into some of the plans when we are doing consultation. So what we will be doing is having an ongoing consultation with this. It's not going to be a plan where it finishes in a few years' time. It's going to be ongoing. So if anybody, when this is officially launched, if anybody reads this, if any young person reads it and think, well, no, I'd like this in it, or I don't agree with this, I want this, and I want X, Y, Z to be addressed within the plan, then we've got the opportunity to do that. I don't think I've got anything else to say, but just to hope you like it. I think it's great. It looks really good, and I'm hoping that young people can engage with it. Yeah, I sort of move that you approve it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Happy to take any questions.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Bath. Councillor Bruce, are you going to second it?
Yes, very happy to second it. And just to say a few words on it, I mean, I think it's very well set out, looking at exactly the priorities of young people, and then, in a sense, responding to them in what we are currently doing and what we plan to do in the future, and how we can respond better to these things going forward. I think it sets out very clearly and highlights our ambition very much for the borough. It's the corporate plan, but it's also our manifesto. This is where the headline statements for the corporate plan came from. It's exactly what the Labour Party are all about. It's exactly what this council is about. And young people play an enormous role in shaping the future of this borough. I think it's very interesting just to pick out one point in particular, where they've responded to education, in that we have 100% of good and outstanding schools in this borough, yet young people say, or 35% of respondents here say, that education and schools need to be improved. Now, clearly I don't necessarily think they're saying their school is bad, but there are elements to schooling and education that they want to see improved. And I think that's really important, you know, as an adult, as a counsellor, I'm a teacher as well, and as a parent, that I don't forget, actually, young people have agency, young people have views, and just because we have 100% rated by Ofsted good and outstanding doesn't mean we should be resting on our laurels, doesn't mean we should be looking at how we can improve things for them going forward. I mean, that's just a specific example that I just found interesting. And there are others in here, other examples here as well. So yes, very good plan, and very happy to second it.
Thank you, Councillor Bruce. It's been moved and seconded. It's now open for discussion and debate. Anybody on this one? No, can't see anyone. No, I concur with you, Councillor Bath and Councillor Bruce. And I think what I like about this is that it's a live document. It changes. It's not just a set flashpoint in time. And it'll be interesting to see how this document evolves and how perceptions evolve as well, as a good barometer of how well we're doing and how responsive we are, you know, in that vein of co-designing the services that young people want and need going forward. So I think it's a really important and great first step, and I love the way it's been set out as well. So you've got my seal of approval on that one. So the recommendations on this report are on page 110, bullet point 1, 2, and 3. Can I see all those in favour? That is carried. Thank you very much. We go back to you, Councillor Bath, for the Children's Model of Care Programme Strategic Business Case.
Thank you, Leader. So a few months back, I came to Cabinet asking you to approve the stage 1, tranche 1 of the Children's Model of Care Programme. So in essence, this, and what I'm asking today is for you to approve a stage 2, tranche 2. So in essence, this programme is a transformation programme in children's model of care. And it is based around investing to save and preventative, so that we can have better outcomes for children, as well as looking at how we can sort of reduce our spend, because, you know, we've discussed this many times, but adults and children obviously spend a lot, and those are where the big money is spent. So this is all around transformation, invest to save. And within this children's model of care program, there are lots of different projects within it, and some of them will have been highlighted in that in your report earlier, the one Hounslow financial report. So what I'm asking really today is asking you to approve stage 2 of the programme. It's going in the right direction. If you read the report, you'll see some of the outcomes from some of our projects. I won't go into them all, but we've opened the family hubs. We've started that. The three have opened in the borough. We're doing some work around placements, efficiency, because we talked many times about the cost of placements, and we're looking at how we can reduce that cost by looking at internal placements. We're looking at our workforce, and we're also very exciting, I think, is looking at building a children's home in the west of the borough. Hopefully, if things go to plan, starting next year, September 2024, which will bring in some cashable savings in terms of reducing the spend on placements that we currently have to spend a lot of money on. So I'm asking you to agree stage 2, tranche 2 of this transformation programme, and I'm also requesting money. Oh, what a surprise. I'm requesting 325k. No, am I? Yeah. No, I'm told I'm not. 600 and yeah, okay. Okay. But anyway, if you can approve the recommendations, yeah, sorry. I'm asking you to approve 686. Okay, got it finally. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So if I move the recommendations in the report 1 to 4. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Bath. Councillor Bruce, you can second it?
Very happy to second it as well. Echo the words that Councillor Bath has just said. I also am delighted to see in this the continuing moving forward and of the children's home, or the new children's home, and to hear that it will be opening imminently is an incredibly positive step forward. We have a children's home, very successful, well-regarded children's home in the borough already, and this will add to our ability to support our children best. We talk about fostering sufficiency as well as care leaver and supporting our families. And there's financial implications, positive implications for the council behind this. But I think it's also worth stressing in the round about these are the right outcome. These are the right things for our young people. These are the right things for the council economically, but these are absolutely the right things for our young people and exactly what they deserve to be getting from our council. Being in a children's home when that is necessary in the locality that they live is vital to keep those links and keep that communication with the area they know. Ensuring the fostering sufficiency, that we have that in the borough, yes, brings in a financial saving, but again enables those young people to stay locally with friends that they have at the school that they may know. There are good examples, obviously, where moving away for whatever reason is the right thing to do. But on the whole, putting in these measures is best for us and best for the young people that are in our care. Not as exciting, perhaps, as the previous report, Councillor Bath, but no more important, no less important, I should say, and perhaps in some cases even more. So yeah, absolutely happy to second this.
Thank you, Councillor Bruce. So it's been moved and seconded. It's now open for discussion and debate. Anyone on this? No. So just a little bit from me on this report. Absolutely echo the words, your words, Councillor Bath, and yours, Councillor Bruce. I think for me, this is a great example of our delivery plan delivering long-term outcomes which benefit our young people and potentially may well deliver us a saving in the long term. But in terms of outcomes, it's absolutely right using our project management methodology to really think about the services that we want to offer for our young people going forward. So I absolutely commend commend you, Councillor Bath, for taking this forward, and thank you, and thanks to officers as well. There's no one else. I'll hand back over to you, Councillor Bath, to sum up.
Yeah, thank you, Leader. Thank you for the comments. Just to say, obviously this is an investor save program, but if we, if everything goes right and we are able to open the children, so we will get savings, because we are hostage to the market at the moment. And it's not just us, but it's all local authorities. I mean, it's eye-watering, some of the costs that you have to pay towards placements, and frankly it's immoral, but that's the situation that we're in. So we want to do this as much as possible, and if it is successful, it will deliver savings.
Quite right. Thank you, Councillor Bath. Right, the recommendations of this report are on page 118, 1 to 4. Can I see all those in favour? That is carried. Thank you very much. Right, we now move to agenda item 13, and I have to apologise, colleagues. I should have made a declaration of interest on this item. I have met some of the stakeholders involved with Green Lane, as has Councillor Shaheen, to discuss their vision for Green Lane, and some of that has been incorporated into this report. So it's not a prejudicial interest, but it's an interest worth declaring. Is that okay, Councillor Shaheen?
Yes, absolutely. And I echo your words. I also declare that same interest, that I've met representatives of the community in taking their input on Green Lane. And I'm very glad I did, because it's all the better for it. It's been a long road getting from where we were on Green Lane Sports Ground to here. And I'm very grateful to the members of the community, the KO Trust, our officers, Lambton Leisure, everyone who was involved in pulling together the work that we have done for this report, and also the work that needs to go forward with Green Lane. And I think, it's that long road has been paved with challenges, both financial and social. And the operating costs of green lanes obviously is a financial challenge to the council, but also it has been a challenge to the council in terms of communal relations as well. But the reason it inflames those passions is because it's so important to the residents of that area, or the residents of Cranford, and what it can do for young people in our borough, to give them a little bit of hope through the transformative power of sport through football, and what we can do with Green Lane, I think going forward, I think it makes it all the worth it. So there are plenty of opportunities here as well to be had, and what this report does is it responds to a cabinet report of November 2021, that had recommended that Green Lane Sports Ground be transferred to Lambton Leisure pending a business case. And now we have looked into all the available options for running those grounds and making them sustainable. And we've taken in various different views and various different pitches from different parties. And we have come to the conclusion that Lambton Leisure should be given, for the next 3 years, the contract to run the site. However, it will be in partnership with the community, very, very much in lockstep with the community, so that we get the best operational management from Lambton Leisure, combined with the passion and love that the community brings for the grounds and for the people as well. And I think that's very important. And as part of that, we will see upskilling and capacity building of community groups involved in the running of Green Lane, so that we can provide a sustainable future. Of course, this also entails additional funding for Green Lane to take it forward over the course of the next 3 years. And this report, it approves a budget allocation of up to 250k for 1 year to support the running costs. The report also sets out that we will be, as I say, running the site in partnership, Lambton Leisure partnership with the community, and that will involve a new stakeholder board to be set up that will include key stakeholders that represent, as I say, users and members of the community of Green Lane, all incredibly important for the future of it. And I think, we have to think about what the opportunity, what the long game is here. And imagine, the sports grounds completely transformed with 3G pitches. I mean, how important will that be to the kids in that area? And I think, this sets us on a path towards massively improving the site and running it in a secure and sustainable way that has the interests of our community at heart, also delivers one day a financial gain for our budgets as well.
Thank you, Councillor Sheen. So I formally second it, and I'll reserve my right to speak. It's now open for debate. Councillor Sampson. Oh, you're going to second it. Oh, sorry, Sue. Councillor Bath.
Thank you. Yes, I'd like to declare an interest as well, because I have actually met with several members over the years, and I thank Councillor Shaheen for bringing this, because it has been a long and painful process. And I think some of us have been on that road, haven't we, in various capacities. But I think one of the things that has come out really clear is the passion for the facilities that are provided on Green Lane Sports Ground, and I'm really pleased that we are going to be doing it in partnership, because you're absolutely right, we do have to foster those relationships, and we do have to make sure that we do build capacity wherever we can there. Whatever happens in the future, I think that is really important. But I'm really pleased to see that we've come to some kind of conclusion with this, because I feel that there was a lot of concern and fear in the community about losing something that they so cherish, that is so valuable and is so used, that I'm pleased that we've brought it here. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Bath. You've pretty much said everything I was going to say, so I'm not going to say it. Completely echo your words. Anyone else on this report? I can't see anyone else indicating. So the recommendations are on page 136 over to 137, 1 to 6. Can I see all those in favour? That is carried. Thank you very much. Item number 14 is the Safer Communities Improvement Strategic Business Case. Councillor Ajmer Garawal, over to you.
Thank you, Chair. Okay, as you say, it's the Safer Communities Improvement Programme strategic business case. It presents and brings to a close work completed during phase 1 of the programme. We now request decisions on 3 areas as the work moves into phase 2. A, to approve proposals to repurpose resource freed up by changes in the staffing levels on the funded police team. B, to improve the recommended approach for phase 2 of the programme. And C, to approve a budget of 104k to deliver phase 2. And that's just 104k, not 600 like Councillor Bart's. On the funded police team, the report sets out progress made to extend 4 officers and 1 sergeant for another year to October 2024, following recent changes in the BCU. The extension being progressed via Chief Officer decision will focus the team's capability on our housing estates, with the 4 constables funded directly through the Council's housing revenue account. And the sergeant will continue to be funded through the Council's general fund to provide necessary borough-wide oversight. The report sets out tasking and monitoring arrangements that will be implemented during this extension to ensure the team's work is targeted on the areas that will provide the most value for our tenants. Previously mentioned changes in the BCU free up 435k in general fund resource, which is earmarked for the funded police team contract. The report sets out proposals for how this resource should be repurposed to provide high and demonstrable visibility for the public. The proposal put forward is to redirect this resource to reinforce the Council's new area-based approach to community safety within the Safer Communities team, creating new visible enforcement roles to tackle hotspots and preventative outreach posts. The report also provides an update on work to conclude the enforcement review, which has clarified roles and tasking, improving collaboration between services. The report sets out our proposed approach for phase 2 of the programme, which will see review work conclude in the identification of a proposed target operating model for community safety as a whole, including community safety enforcement and ASB. This would take place alongside work going to review our community safety. Community Safety Partnership Board, which I chair, and which should report conclusions in April 2024. The report requests 104k in budget from the One Hounslow Transformation Reserve to undertake this necessary work, with phase 2 expected to conclude and report to Cabinet in April 2024. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Garwal. Councillor Sampson, would you like to second this one? Yeah, reserving your right? Yep, perfect. So it's been moved and seconded. It's open for discussion. Can't see anyone. So just a little bit for me. Thank you, Councillor Garwal. I know there's a lot of moving parts in this report, but actually it shows our commitment to a safer Hounslow and progressing that despite challenging circumstances. So absolutely commend you. Really excited to see the enforcement review take shape as well, and look forward to hearing more about that in due course as well. So thank you to you and your officers for all your work on that. There's no one else on this. The recommendations on this report are on page 150, 1 to 4. I see all those in favour. That is carried. Thank you, everyone. Right, item 15 is the Localities Model and Community Hubs Programme update. Councillor Shivraj, I'll roll over to you.
Yep. Thank you, Chair. I'm presenting this report which recommends the acceleration of the Localities Programme, which is being implemented right now through to March 2024. As a council, we are transferring from our services to the residents so that they can access the services they need, making it much easier for them to interact with the council. This includes when people call us or visit our web pages on the net. But we know that for some people, what they really need is to be able to access their services face to face in their local areas through area forums and etc. But this could be from the council itself or through our partners in health and voluntary and community sectors. Our localities program is all about reimaging how and where we deliver our services in local places, which means improving how we use our existing building and assets and working closely with local organizations to truly support our residents and give them the help they need. The success of this approach has already been demonstrated through our new community and family hubs, and we are now proposing to introduce the localities model in other locations, including Hounslow, Brentford, and Cranford. Though this approach will not only provide us services in a more efficient way, but we will also make it easier for people to find early help and preventive services, which we know can be truly life-changing. The recommendations for this report are, I would ask the Cabinet to approve the acceleration of the program, approve a budget of 217K to be funded from One Hounslow Reserve to cover the cost of delivering this proposal, delegate the authority to the Assistant Chief Executive. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Garrawal. I'll formally second that and reserve my right to speak. Anybody on this one? Councillor Bruce.
Yes, I absolutely support. I was about to put my hand up to second as well. Absolutely support this, and thank Councillor Garrawal for bringing this forward. I think accelerating a very successful model is absolutely the right approach. As Councillor Garrawal said and highlighted, there is some synergy with our assets across the borough. The future assets strategy, which I am leading on to present the next phase in March or April next year, aligns perfectly with exactly what we're trying to achieve in this localities model. It is incredibly important that we maximize the use of all our corporate buildings in this borough. We want the residents to be able to have access to the services they need where they need them, and use, you know, in their locality, that they can you know, be able to find those with easy access. I'm repeating myself a little bit here. You know, I'm thinking about, you know, being able to walk or get easy public transport access to places near them and travel where they want to a variety of other things. So that's why you know, the Feltham Pathfinder was important, and putting this now into Hounslow, into Brentford, and potentially into Cranford as well, looking at how we can expand this across the borough using our assets to the best that we can, is absolutely the right way forward. I think important as part of this, ensuring the services are delivered in those areas, that residents will have a say in the future of our assets. I want that to be clear. We've had lots of good feedback already about where and how and why residents use the buildings that they do, and we want to continue that work when we bring up specific proposals around particular buildings. This has got to work for the community, I think, as Councillor Garrawal has already said, and that's absolutely our approach on this. So I very much support this. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Bruce. Anyone else on this report? Considering you mentioned, Councillor Garrawal, in your opening remarks that people want to engage with the council in many different ways, perhaps a shameless plug for me, Cabinet Question Time is returning, back by popular demand, 6th of December, 6:30, Feltham Assembly Hall. Residents are encouraged to submit their questions online or write to us, and we will answer them. No topic is off limits, perhaps, within reason, but absolutely support this report. Councillor Garrawal, thank you for really leading on this. It's another example of us really transforming the way we engage with our residents in a positive way, taking the council out to them rather than them coming to us, and I absolutely commend the approach. So thank you very much. So I can't see anyone else indicating. So the recommendations on this report are on page 166, 1, 2, 3. Can I see all those in favour? That is carried. Excellent. I have not had any referrals from other council committees, and I have not been notified of any urgent business. Will someone move exclusion of press and public? Councillor Bath, is that seconded? Councillor Bruce, is that agreed? Agreed. Right, those on the webcast, thank you very much for joining us this evening. I hope you got something out of this. Have a good rest of the evening, and we'll see you again in December. Let us know when you're off.